Greetings, people of the internet. This is Scott with CircWorks, and this is Beyond 100 Days of Making Comics. What is Beyond 100 Days of Making Comics? It's where I get interrupted by the doorbell. Let's go see who's at the door. All right, we'll just walk down here. Hold on. I don't see anyone here. That's weird. Wait, what is that? Oh, sweet. It's my tablet monitor. Let's bring it in and check it out. All right, so as you can tell, I am super excited, and kind of coincidental that doorbell would ring and this would arrive right when I turned on the camera to start filming one of these episodes. What are the odds? Anyway, so so usually when people get something like this and they film a little video about it, they like to do what they call an unboxing, and those can tend to get a little bit boring, but I might just film me opening this thing, and I'll be super excited, but everyone else has seen those type of things, so I don't know if those are really all that cool for the audience, but maybe I'll just film it and speed it up so it doesn't take up too much time. But yeah, I'm really excited to open this thing up and check out and see what it can do and hook it up and all that kind of stuff, and share with you with how this monitor works. And I've never used any kind of like on-screen tablet drawing device, so I don't really know. I can't really compare it to like a Cintiq or anything like that, but we'll see how it works for me, and then maybe that if you're in the market, that maybe that can help you decide. But yeah, I don't know really what to expect as of yet. But anyway, as I was saying earlier, what is Beyond 100 Days of Making Comics? Well, it's just kind of a continuation of what I was doing for the 100 Days of Making Comics challenge, where you put at least 30 minutes a day aside to work on your own personal comic book project. This is mine. It's called Young and the Dead, and you can see there's some kids here, and if you could see right here, there's some zombies. So it is actually a kids versus zombie tale. It's kind of an homage to all those 80s movies like Goonies and Monster Squad, and it's Goonies meets Night of the Living Dead, basically. So anyway, that is what I'm working on, and as far as work that I've got done, I've made a little more progress on that, but I might wait till another episode. I really want to delve into this tablet monitor and see what it does, and share that with you guys for this episode. So let's get to it. Okay, through the magic of video editing, we have now traveled a few weeks into the future, and I've got my Huion GT-190 tablet monitor set up. Been playing with it for a while, and so far things are going all right. I'm starting to dig it. It's taken me a while to get used to it and everything. It's a little different. My initial reason for going into this was that getting one of these tablet monitors is I just thought it was just going to open up a whole new world. Like it was just going to revolutionize, how I create artwork on the computer. I don't think it's done that. I mean, it's what I was using before, and I'll show you. This is the Wacom Intuos 5. This is the large, I think this is probably the biggest Intuos you can get. And I acquired this when the game studio I used to work at went under, so I got all this stuff. So it didn't cost me really anything, but this thing here cost almost as much as this, if not the same or more. And you know, this doesn't have a screen or anything. This is just a drawing tablet. Works real good. I've loved working on this. It takes a long time to get used to kind of that disconnect of drawing on one surface while you're looking up at a different surface. And so I just assumed that, you know, jumping from something like that to just drawing directly on the screen was just, you know, is going to be easy peasy lemon squeezy. And it's I don't know, it just hasn't wowed me like I was hoping it would. And I don't think it's just because this is the Cintiq alternative. I think I might have the same issues with the Cintiq, although I've never tried one, so I don't know. But yeah, but I'm starting to get used to it. I'm starting to warm up to it. But I was just hoping that it would just be like, you would just, from what I've heard people say, oh, it's just like drawing on paper. It's just like jumping in, and to me, it's not. At least not for doing really detailed, like the inking is the biggest. I think the biggest problem is sketching. I'm starting to do a lot more sketching on here. But just getting that precise ink work, it's either going to take a lot more time, or I may never be able to acquire that kind of, you know, that line quality that I like with working with paper. So, but you know, it has its pluses and its minuses, and I'll kind of go over some of those. But the main thing was, yeah, just the install. I couldn't. Everyone says if you have problems with the install, it's usually due to the multiple, you know, monitor setup, which I have. I've got 2 other monitors here, and that's one of the reasons. There's another tablet monitor on the market by Monoprice, and I was looking at that one, and it's a little less expensive than this, not that much. So that's kind of why I went with this Huion model, because it supposedly supports the multi-monitor setup way better than the Monoprice. I guess with the Monoprice, there's certain workarounds you can do to get it to work, but I don't like to deal with all that stuff because I'm not really savvy as far as setting things up and everything. So I was back and forth with the tech support, and they were real helpful, but you know, they're based in China, so there's a little bit of a language disconnect, I think, and everything. So I almost sent it back, and through the court, you know, I wasn't able to get pressure sensitivity. I wasn't able to get the monitor set up the way I wanted to, and just a lot of back and forth. And you know, I almost gave up. But then there was one file that they kept asking me to delete, and I would delete it, and it would just reappear or whatever. And I found out that was associated with this little guy, this webcam. And I don't know how many people are going to buy this monitor who also have this particular webcam model, but it's a Logitech, and that was causing all the problems. Once I uninstalled that webcam, I was able to install the tablet monitor, and I kind of had to figure that out for myself because, you know, they don't know what other stuff I have or whatever. So anyway, I uninstalled that, and then after I installed the tablet monitor and all that, I was able to reinstall the webcam, and it didn't give me any problems. So there weren't any conflictions after, you know, going back and reinstalling that. So I don't know, that was part of my problem. So got that all fixed. So it's all working pretty nice. And then, you know, of course, I start using the tablet monitor. I'm like, I don't know, I don't like the feeling, and I almost switched back to my Intuos tablet. But I figured, you know, I remember going back to working with that tablet and how hard it was to, you know, how much time it took to actually learn how to, instead of just drawing right on paper, to draw on the tablet and have it, you know, appear on screen, and that disconnect. And so I figured, well, let me just work with it for a while and stick to it. And now, yeah, I'm starting to dig it. There certain things for me that are sort of an issue. Well, first let me show you how I have this set up. So you can see, I also purchased an arm, like an ergonomic arm or whatever, and so I can adjust this about any way I want. If I want to work on it like a comic book page, well, of course, all my all my menus and everything would be sideways too, which doesn't really work. But you know, sometimes when you draw, you can, you want to turn things around, and you can do almost anything with this. So, which helps a lot, because one of the drawbacks of these Cintiq alternatives is the viewing angles. And you can't really see it on camera because you're at a different angle and because of the lights and everything. But I can get it. It's really not that much of an issue. Like if somebody's over my shoulder, like if I don't work in this kind of setting anymore, but if I actually had a client that was coming by, hold on, let me turn that back on. If I had a client that I was trying to show, and they're looking at my artwork, it's going to look funky to them because of the viewing angles aren't that great. But because when you draw, you want to draw pretty much right on top of your artwork or whatever. That's with this arm, it's really not a problem. So yeah, the other thing is, because this is a smaller, I'm used to working between two monitors here, and for me anyway, what I like to always do is I would have like my Photoshop or Illustrator or whatever open on one monitor, and then I would just bring all my tools into another screen, so I have all that real estate to draw and everything. One of the major problems, and I'm hoping I can find a way around this, is that because now that I'm drawing on a screen, I have to have all my tools and everything on this screen, because I can't just move over here like I could with the tablet. So if I'm drawing on the tablet, I can have my two screens and I can just move across. Where's that thing? Here we go. So, I'll be drawing here, and this would be split between the two monitors, so I can just go back and forth. I can touch my, tools, go back and draw on this screen, go back to this screen, do that. But I can't really do that with this monitor. I don't know if there's some kind of a toggle where I can switch to make it more like a tablet. That's kind of a problem. What I'm hoping I can do is, I'm hoping that I can buy like, Huion, who makes this tablet monitor, also makes some just regular drawing tablets, and some of them are fairly inexpensive, around $50 or whatever. So I'm hoping I can get them both to run simultaneously on the same system. That way, if I'm drawing here, I can go just off to the side and use, if I have another just drawing tablet, then I can go back and control these two monitors without having to set the pin down, grab my mouse, move it, put the mouse down, grab the pin. If I could just use the pin back and forth, that would solve a lot of problems for me. So I don't know if I'll be able to do that. I'm hoping, I can't use the Intuos because these are, I assume these are different technology. I haven't tried it, but I'm pretty sure that I can't use this on an Intuos tablet. So I would like to, I'm going to ask around, or maybe talk to Huion and find out if I'll also run one of those little tablets. All I need is like a small one, because it's just basically to use sort of as a mouse, so I don't have to keep moving back and forth. And that way I don't have to keep everything on this monitor, because also this monitor is a little smaller than these, so I'm just losing a lot of real estate. And I usually like to have all my windows open, but now I have to, compact them all on the side and everything, just so I have room on this screen to work with. So that's that's kind of an issue for me. The good thing about it, as far as drawing and everything, and I don't know if I do a demo on this because I don't even think you can see. Can you guys see that? Not really. Let me change it to. I was going to change it to black because I'm drawing in that non-repo blue, but just with the brightness and everything, you really can't see it. But really, there's really no lag at all. I mean, it's pretty much anything I draw here, is the line weight's great and everything. Maybe I'll zoom in a little bit and you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, hopefully this angle works good for you guys. I've sort of dimmed all the other lights, so I'm hoping you can kind of see this. But so yeah, you can kind of see here, there's really no lag at all. Just drawing some basic lines. I can adjust my line weight. Let me go a little bigger on my cursor here so you can see. Hopefully you can see. Now I can start off small, make it darker lines, and go back to smaller again. So the pressure sensitivity works really good. Let's see. So I can do my sketching. Sketching works good. I've been doing a lot of my sketching on the tablet instead of just paper, and that's the main reason why I wanted to switch over to this, is just the corrections and things. Let me see, maybe a little robot or something. You can see that? I don't know. Anyway, I'm not spending much time here doing this, but yeah, so I do like this for sketching a lot. I like the fact that, you know, if the benefits for working digitally, where are we? Sorry, here we go. Say if I don't like the position of that eye, you know, I can move it around or you know, do whatever. Whereas I would have to, you know, erase. Oh, what is going on here? There we go. Yeah, so I'm hoping that is you know, gonna save me a lot of time. And this is 100 Days of Making Comics, so I assume you guys all know Kevin Cross, and he has a similar monitor. He has the Unova, and I was kind of talking to him online about. He wasn't all too impressed, and I think I'm kind of falling in that same category as far as it seems good for drawing. It's great. This thing is gonna be great for any kind of painting I do. Other than the fact that this, and maybe I'm just not great at calibrating this, but or adjusting the colors and everything, but the colors on this just are not anything near what my monitors here are. So what I've been having to do is, you probably can't see the difference. So here's and the color on the camera looks crappy, so I apologize for that. Let me see if I can, hold on. There, so you probably can't see the difference. But anyway, the color on this screen, and I've just duplicated this window, so the color on this screen here is closer to what I'm used to looking at. It looks great and everything. Color on this, not so much. So I think what I'm gonna have to do, unless I wanted to spend a lot more money to get a lot higher resolution tablet, is just, you know, draw on this and just kind of check back on my other monitor to make sure the color looks good. A lot of what I do is just line art stuff, so that doesn't really come into play. But anytime I am working with colors, I definitely want to check on my other monitor to make sure that it looks good. Again, there's some drawbacks, but just the price differential from the Cintiq to what I'm working with here is just so, you know, there's just such a huge gap that I'm willing to do some workarounds for that type of thing. So anyway, but yeah, going back to what Kevin was saying, you know, I guess, you know, he uses it for painting, his Unova for painting and everything, but just the inking and everything, he prints everything out. And I always thought it was kind of odd that he would draw on the computer and print things out and then ink from the printouts. But now I'm starting to understand it. I think I might even kind of do that same thing for my comic, because the main benefit, like I was saying, to working digitally is you can correct all your mistakes so quickly. Now, if I can do all the sketching and drawing and everything on the computer and make all my corrections, usually by the time I'm ready to start inking, I don't really make too many mistakes or don't decide to change too many things. A little bit here and there, but his process is starting to make a lot more sense to me. So who knows, I may do something like that. It also might be once I get to a little more into using Manga Studio, because the line quality in Manga Studio is like just light years ahead of what you can do in Photoshop, at least for me. Now, there's probably ways to do all your different adjustments in Photoshop to get something decent. I've seen people do incredible, you know, comic book stuff in Photoshop, but I don't know how to do all these different, you know, adjust all these things to get exactly the way I want it. Manga Studio, from what I've been playing around with right out of the box, I mean, it smooths your lines, and you get really crisp lines and everything. So once I start working with that, that might change, and I might do everything totally digital. But for right now, yeah, this is a pretty good introduction to just working with a tablet. I'm getting better at it. I wish it was more, like I said, revolutionary. I wish it would just change my workflow just exponentially, but that's not so much the case. I am digging it. I am learning how to do it, and I think the more and more I get used to it, the less and more ways I'm able to work around these little problems. I'm going to be a little more happy with it, but I really can't complain because, like I said, I think with the arm and everything, which was like, you know, an extra little over $100. I think my investment in this particular hardware plus the arm was like around $500, compared to a starting point of like $2,000 of a Cintiq. Now, if I get to the point where like money's no option, I may opt for a Cintiq. I don't see that happening anytime soon, unfortunately. So, but yeah, and you know, these are just some of my thoughts on this particular monitor. It's not really a review. There's some better reviews on the monitor. I forgot the guy who writes Hijinks and Sue. He did a review on this monitor. It's a lot better than mine. And then there's some other ones. But these are just some of my thoughts. And again, this is just the 100 days of making comics. It's not really a review of this particular hardware, but I just wanted to share my thoughts, and because it is part of the comic book making process and it's something new to me. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on. I don't know really what else to say. Would I recommend it? Yeah, I definitely recommend it. It for me, it takes a little time. It's still, I don't know if anything for me, and maybe it's just because I'm finicky, but I don't think anything for me is going to recapture just the feeling of drawing on paper or the ease of that. Other than, you know, when I say ease, I mean the actual just drawing and say laying some ink over you know, pencil or whatever. Granted, you know, there's extra time because you're having to dip your brush in the ink and all the corrections and everything. So there's trade-offs here and there, but it might just take a lot longer for me to get that crisp line quality that I like on a digital device such as this. But anyway, again, this is the Huion GT-190. Pretty happy about it now that I've got a chance to work around it. And you know, it's just, I think sometimes you just have to stick to something new and figure out how it works, and then you become a little more happy with it. But yeah, I'm digging it. So let me switch this off and I'll go back to kind of a different view here. Okay, so that's going to do it for another installment of Beyond 100 Days of Making Comics. If you probably noticed, I didn't talk much about working on my comic, and there's a reason for that, and that is that I really haven't worked on my comic so much in a while, and I'm like super upset with myself about that, and I'm hoping that's all going to change with the new year. I'm gonna make it a priority somehow, because I've got other, you know, it's the same old with the client work and everything like that. But I'm gonna try to, you know, find that time to get time to work on that comic book and get this thing done, because it has to be. It has to be done by when Comic Con season rolls around. So yeah, I really want to get back at. It's just been somehow after I did the 100 Days of Making Comics, and with everything else, and some of it had to do with the holidays and whatever other excuses I can throw at it, but it just somehow I just got disconnected for a little bit. But it's really not that hard. I just got to find that love for making that comic book and get back into it again. And that once I make that connection again, then I'll start rolling forward again. So hopefully the next Beyond 100 Days, you're going to see some new stuff on Young and the Dead and all that. But you know, I've been playing around with these monitors and things like that. So I don't know how much of this is going to come into play on what I'm doing with the comic book right now. I may wait till I get the latest version of Manga Studio and start learning that before I actually incorporate that into the comic book making process. I don't know. I may do some sketching in Photoshop, and like I said, and then print it out on boards and ink it and do it that way. But I haven't really decided yet. But whatever I do, there will be a lot more of the process of making the Young and the Dead comic. And thanks everyone who's sticking around. I know I haven't been putting videos out as much lately as I have been, but I'm hoping all that's going to change. Gonna take some time to, to kind of plot out what I want to happen in 2015 and how I'm gonna make all that work and everything. So I'll probably put up a blog post about all that and my goals and what I plan to accomplish and revisit what I did last year. And so maybe that might be what the next 100 days, beyond 100 days is about. I don't know. Anyway, again, I'm rambling, so I'm just going to cut this thing short and wish you all, everyone, a Happy New Year. And if I don't see you before, I don't know if I'll see you before then. Maybe on Fan Art Friday. No, Fan Art Friday will be after New Year. So, Happy New Year, everyone, and that is all.